In the world of My Hero Academia, there lies heroes and villains. One warrior from the villain's side being Tomura Shigaraki, second user of All for One. This quirk, whenever it's mastered, merges with its previous user, getting all its skills, memories, and previous quirks it has inhabited. So what would happen if Naruto were to have this exact ability, and how would it change the events of Naruto? This is what we'll be going over in this what if of what if Naruto had Decay. But without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Bring that heat, boy.
So we resume this what if after the mission of the Land of the Waves, after he pretty much taken down Sabuza and Haku, as Suigetsu would take the Executioner's Blade, becoming its next wielder. We switch scenes to the Akatsuki hideout as Itachi had walked into the hallway. He then told Kisame, as he started talking, telling him how he was the former 7 swordsman of the mist, as he would probably want to know that one of its previous members were killed by Suigetsu and Naruto Uzumaki. As Kisame would realize that Suigetsu had taken the Executioner's Blade, and he would probably come after his blade sooner or later, same with the other blades which had been lost. As what would occur next is this would cause the whole Akatsuki to realize Naruto's sudden rise and change in power, as he had an ability which could decay the molecular structure of a human in about just a few seconds, as he could disintegrate them. As they would realize that Naruto was becoming dangerous, and with this vast potential that he has, he could actually thwart their overall goal of the Akatsuki being, Eye of the Moon plan. As they would go to Orochimaru, or they would pretty much tell Orochimaru to destabilize the Hidden Leaf Village so they can go in and look for the Nine Tails, hoping that the Jinchuriki was there, and once it would get there, they would at least know who it is. Obviously, as we know, Kurama had been disintegrated into chakra, so he's technically in the reforming process. So, yeah, they don't really know that yet. So they would, like I said, hire Orochimaru to pretty much go to the Leaf Village and just cause chaos, in which he would be glad to, since he wasn't really restricted from getting, Sasuke's eyes, or his body, quote unquote. Obviously, he had turmoil with fighting Itachi, in which he had lost. Itachi's genjutsus were too strong for him, as he was quickly subdued. He would then leave the Akatsuki, starting his own organization inside the Sound Village, becoming its leader, as this was a way for them to go to the Hidden Leaf Village during the Chunin exams. But another village would also be coming along, this being the Hidden Mist Village, after the revolution, Hidden Mist Village and the Leaf had started becoming allies, as the other villages didn't really like the Hidden Leaf. This was a way for them so they can start welcoming other treaties between other villages. And this is what led to sort of like an acquaintance between the Hidden Leaf and the Sand Village, as they would all agree that they would pretty much kind of have a Chunin exams between the Hidden Leaf, the Sand, Sound, and the Mist, being a good representation of how all the villages are all gathered together and kind of putting away their differences. As we then look back to Naruto Uzumaki's perspective, as he was called down by the Mizukage, being made Terumi, as they were told that about two things. They'll be getting a new team member, being Karin, and then they'll also be getting a invitation to the Leaf Village to participate in the Chunin exams, as the Mizukage would suspect that someone is going to attack. Just a little tip from Jiraiya of the Sani, as just due to their, obviously Jiraiya would want to see Naruto as he knows who his parents are and he's technically his godfather and all. And obviously the Leaf are allies with the Mist, so they thought they could at least work together to subdue this force that's going to start chaos in the Leaf Village during the Chunin exams. So a tip would be coming through that Orochimaru was possibly going to be there, but it's just like a, how do I say, kind of like a theory. So Naruto and Suigetsu would meet their teammate Karin, who had kind of joined the Mist Village in order to kind of not be anywhere in Orochimaru's vicinity or the Grass Village. So due to previous experiences, so this would lead to, I guess you could say the Team Taka, of the Naruto team. Like, instead of Sasuke, it'd be Naruto, and then just Jugo isn't there, at least maybe for now. So they would get ready as they would head over to the Leaf Village. Once they would get there, they would unpack as they would walk through town. As once they were walking through, they had bumped into a team. Not literally, but they had just walked by, as they had noticed their headbands and realized where they were from. As this team was Team 7. It was Kakashi, I almost said Naruto. It was Kakashi, Sasuke, Kiba, and Sakura. As they would converse, as Naruto would see Kakashi as he would remember him from the bingo book. As they had said their goodbyes, he had walked away. So they would continue on their night, as now we would continue to the day of the Chunin exams, like the first stage. As what would happen is Naruto would get up as he would go over to the academy where this exam was taking place. Once he would get there, he would meet his team members as they would go inside and get ready for the start of the Chunin exams. They'd be walking through until suddenly they had seen two people fighting in the middle of the hallway. This being Sasuke and Lee. And this person Naruto had seen had a green spandex on, very reminding of another ninja he had saw in the bingo book, but just couldn't get his tongue on it. And obviously this would be Guy, as Guy was a major role in the Third Great Ninja War, so obviously he'd feel like he recognized something about his outfit. As Lee could kind of be equal to Sasuke, since Kakashi, I guess you can say, would have more time. Remember, we aged Naruto up by 6 years, so that means all of them are about a little bit over an adult. They're all adults pretty much, as they would have way more time to train their techniques and hone their abilities and maturity. Obviously Sasuke would still be trying to get revenge on Itachi, but Kakashi would kind of lower it down in a sense, becoming a sort of mentor. As this, obviously, I don't see why he wouldn't be learning the Chidori by now, as they had formed their team right when they were 13, and they had about a few years to train, so I don't really see that being a problem. As just from, I believe, 3 months after Sasuke had become a ninja, he had learned the Chidori, so this is 6 years, maybe almost 7, so that's definitely enough time. As Sasuke would had the two Tomoe having mastery over the fire elements, and obviously having some affinity for lightning, but not really, only really knowing the Chidori and not really getting mastery into Kirin. So they would continue through the hallway after witnessing the fight. Obviously, Guy Sensei would intervene, in which they would have the heart-to-heart moment with Guy, like Lee saying Guy Sensei and Guy Sensei saying Lee, and pretty wholesome. As they would head over to the stairs, Naruto would then see the guard stopping everyone from going in, as he would then use one of his quirks to pretty much kind of open the portal and then go into the other side. And obviously this quirk has a limit. It's just like a radius. It's not, you can't just go anywhere in the world, because that'd be kind of OP. It probably has like maybe a city level radius, so like, and obviously you would have to like understand where this place is. Obviously he's right below it, so you should have a pretty good concept of what the place looks like. So they would go through this anomaly as they would make it to the other side, as they would start to see the genjutsu, being all the doors had like the numbers on the doors were kind of distorted. It made it look different, as Naruto would see past the genjutsu, and so would Karin and Suigetsu. As they would go into the right class, they had seen a few other sound ninja there waiting for the Chunin exams to start, as Naruto, Suigetsu, and Karin had sat down and simply waited for the proctor to come along. A few minutes later, Naruto had seen Team 7, or specifically Sasuke, Kiba, and Sakura, talking to this one sound village. He looked a bit like Kabuto, and he had actually recognized the card he was pulling and putting chakra into them. It was an old tactic that only some ninja had used to gain info on some other ninjas from other nations to provide for their own village. Obviously, this is very rare, but Naruto is raised in the mist, being trained by Yagura, so he should at least have some knowledge of what this is. Just some hearsay and rumors, of course, as he would watch Kabuto pull out the cards for Gaara, himself, and then Lee. As Sasuke was interested in Naruto, like he looks like kind of like Shigaraki, and it wouldn't say interested. I wouldn't say like Sasuke was interested, but just like the look Naruto had, it was like the look of, how do I say, someone strong. So he'd obviously given him the information being the same as canon, like Gaara not getting a single scratch on him in about 150 missions, most of them being B rank and A rank, while for Lee, he was the student of Might Guy, which Naruto now knows who Might Guy is and realized who he is, kind of recognizing the outfit similarity, as then he would hear himself. He had heard himself being mentioned as he was the one who killed Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Even though that's not really true, it was Suigetsu, but obviously the stories get it mixed up. And he also destabilized one of the biggest underground organization in all of the Hidden Leaf, the rest of the world, as everyone in the room hearing this would start glancing at Naruto, Gaara, and then Lee, as they had heard pretty much vital information that kind of confirmed that they were strong individuals. So now, once the exams had started and Ibiki had walked in telling everyone to sit down, it would start to explain the point of the test, being a writing portion test, as he would tell anyone that if you are caught cheating, you will be, I can't remember, eliminated, that's the word. So the 2 gate guards, Izumu and Kotetsu, would start walking around and handing out papers for the exams, as this would start the exams. So Naruto, he doesn't need to cheat, but like, you can see the point of the test was to cheat, so he might as well try entertaining his idea, just kind of curious if he would get caught. It's something Naruto was like thinking about. It kind of stuck in his head. So he had pretty much how do I say this, used one of his quirks, which had gave them enhanced sight, not like enhanced sight, like Sharingan type sight, but it was good enough to see other people's hand movements. And obviously, this being a quirk, it was advanced more than modernized time at that time, being the Edo ages, or at least that's my assumption. As he would start to see the movements of everyone's hands, as he had looked over to probably the more smarter people in the class, being Shikamaru, as he had started looking at him, and you actually get a few answers down until suddenly he would feel a shadow on him, like something stopping him. As obviously he would easily resist it and just break out of it, but Shikamaru had looked back at him after Naruto had finished answering his question, like on the paper, like filling out the answers, as they would kind of stare at each other for a few seconds. Not enough for anyone to notice, but just enough for them to notice, since they're like giving each other like the deadest stare ever. As after this, the exams would be over, as this will lead to the second stage proctor, being Anko, to for some reason kick through the window. It was weird, but it is what it is. As then she would start to tell everyone to go over to the Forest of Death. Once they would get there, pretty much Naruto was like looking at the forest, as he had sensed lots of killer intent in this forest, and not just from the usual snake, like huge snakes and animals and wildlife living there. It was from an actual person, or summoning to be more exact. It was from a living being, not foreign to that place. It's foreign to that area in a sense. And if you're wondering how would he even notice that, think of the amount of quirks Alphorn has stolen. One of them should have some sort of danger sense, or kind of enhanced reflexes. So why not? So Anko would catch Naruto not really paying attention, as she would throw her kunai at him. So Naruto's reflexes would kind of alert him of the kunai coming towards him, until suddenly he would raise his hand, as a small wave of decay would escape from his hand, disintegrating the kunai before it even came close to him. As after this, Anko would kind of just be a little scared at his power, but then kind of just like ignore it. As then she would start the test, as Team 7, or not Team 7, or I guess Naruto's team were given the Heaven Scroll, as now they needed an Earth Scroll. As this, what I'm trying to portray here is a nice fight between two people, and we'll see that later on. So pretty much Naruto's team would be going through the forest, as suddenly a kind of like a lightning beam would be going towards him. Once they got like a little bit in the middle of the forest, Naruto's reflexes would go off, as suddenly he would catch the lightning, as he would redirect the lightning through his stomach, out through not through his stomach, just in that general direction, out through like towards the sky, as he would have caught the lightning before then redirecting it, as his hands would have kind of been a little burned from literally catching lightning. Obviously it's not the speed of lightning, since lightning has a preset speed, and you can always evolve the Chidori, meaning it would get faster, meaning it would not be the speed of lightning, since like I said, it's preset, it can't change. So random tangent. But Sasuke would then be seen on the tree line with his katana unsheathed, as he had his Sharingan activated. As Kiba would then be seen from the right, as his clone and himself would be meeting up in midair, as they would do a fang over fang. As Karin would then, activate her Uzumaki chains, as she would then kind of capture Kiba in her chains, as then she would throw him against a tree, knocking him out. I was trying to think of the word, incapacitating Kiba. As now it was down to Sakura and Sasuke. Sakura being a little more powerful, as she had taken up lessons on Genjutsu, as she had the time and also the skills. Same with also her usual healing, but Tsunade wasn't there, so it's not going to be as potent. So she'll then go through a few hand signs, as suddenly they would see a sort of their eyes would kind of become distorted, as suddenly they would see a kind of like how do I say this, like a storm in a way, as they were like constantly going through and trying to make it to the other side. As suddenly Naruto would not realize, like he didn't know, he was just trying to see what this type of genjutsu was. As he can look down at his hands, it was showing actual effects, and he was wondering if these were physical or just in his mind. As he would then output his decay, shattering the genjutsu as he had came out of it and realized his injuries, quote unquote, were only illusions. So Naruto would then appear in front of Sasuke, as Sasuke would quickly use his katana to clash with Naruto. Naruto would catch his sword, decaying it, as Naruto would then kick Sasuke in the gut, sending him flying into a tree, before he would then take the scroll, as Sasuke was useless doing anything about it. Naruto had used a energy nullification ability to pretty much take away Sasuke's chakra, or just enough so Sasuke could only just lie there, paralyzed, as you can't take everyone's chakra away as it's constantly growing and sent into life force. As Naruto would take the scroll and head towards the tower, leaving Sasuke defenseless to Orochimaru, who would later on put the curse mark on him. As Sasuke and his group would then go through every challenge they have, as they would, Kiba and Sakura would fight against the Sound Village, not the Sound Village, the Sound Team, like Team Dosu, as obviously Sakura being the only one there, as Kiba had a short fight with Orochimaru, but he really couldn't do anything against Orochimaru, to be more specific. As then Sakura would then have her usual development where she would cut her hair, as then obviously the other teams would come along in Team Shikamaru and Team I think it's Team Guy, pretty much they would come along and save her, and Sasuke would then come out with his curse mark stage, and then usually that kind of went the same thing, just without Naruto. They had got to the tower the same way also. So Naruto's team had gotten there, as this would mark the end for them. They had gotten the number 1 spot, and they had defeated Team 7, the strongest quote-unquote team in the whole village, which had portrayed their skills. As this would be the end of this part for part 2 of What If Naruto Had Decay. But without further ado, guys, have a good day.